What up, random rockers? Back another week. So I don't know. I'll probably have something next week, but I'm not sure on it because apparently I'm going to have a dental thing. I don't know how long that's going to take. I mean, it's not if it's going to affect my usual schedule or not. So, yeah. Other than that, apparently technically I've listened to 5 albums, but I'm only going to talk about 3. So I'll just mention on the side before we get started 2 albums I had talked about that are worth recommending, that are probably, you could probably say are better than some of the records here. Definitely the one I might get to first. But before we get to that, Wolves in the Throne Room's EP, Crypt of Ancestral Knowledge. That's what it looks like. At least if you got the YouTube thing. And then Common Suffering from Harm's Way. Yeah. Other than that, let's get started with Red, Rated R. I liked this band. I would have considered them, at least for Christian rock, Christian metal, probably more leaning to Christian rock if we're being honest, one of the better, more consistent bands, or at least what was left of them, and now I don't know if I can say that anymore, because this record left me with nothing. Like, I could tell they were kind of leaving off from their previous 2 records they were doing, and not adding a whole, but yet not doing a whole lot with it. I'd still probably rather listen to this than definitely what we've been getting from Skillet the last couple records, honestly. But even still, I'm going to just put it short. Anyone who's seen, Zach D, he used to be a subscriber. I don't know if he still is anymore, but Zach D Productions, or whatever he's using his name as at this point. He's changed it a few times here and there since I started doing this stuff. And yeah, his rant on this is definitely something I will agree with, although I'm not as pissed as him about it. I'm a little frustrated, but not nearly as peeved and to the point of the rant, but yeah, I expected better from this band, and thoroughly disappointed. And I don't think they have it in them. Plus, since one of the brothers left, I was starting to wonder if that is. Initially, I thought their last record was a little bit better, and they were starting to kind of experiment with more genty ideas, which I didn't hate that. And they're still doing some of that, and I think one of the better riffs to me, at least the thing that stood out the most, I didn't mind. I guess Your Devil's a Ghost is fine, Cold World's fine. I didn't mind Minus at all, I guess. But there's no real true, Tell Me How to Say Goodbye is the closest thing, but it's not much of anything in that regard. But I feel like the Suffering or Still Bleeding, it might have been the Suffering, that had a nice kind of staccato-y riff, that I riffing thing in the beginning that I actually genuinely liked. But other than that, I'm kind of disappointed, and I expected better from the. I really did. You know, they never felt like they disappointed me as much. And also, if this is their first time going back to Red, no. This is definitely in the lower end. Hell, I would rather listen to Release the Panic over this for sure. There are hints of this. It's 2 records mixed with some Release the Panic elements, I guess. Especially if there's some more synthy elements here and there. But even still, I'm yeah, I don't have much I want to say anymore on this. I expected better. The Rob Grave stuff of Beauty and Grey is still the best thing if you really want to go into Red, if I'm being honest with you. Other than maybe, aside from that, the first 3 albums you'll be fine with. But other than that, man, and Release to Panic is choice. But anything since Rob Graves has not really been that strong. They've not, though, even though those, though I will say I liked Declaration probably more than most, I'd say. But I still wouldn't like pick it above like The Beauty of Grey and how they started. But it just feels like they're aimless without Rob Graves or without without the other brother that was in the band. That's not, and I think he left to do what's his face from Korn's band when he was still kind of super Christian before he decided to go back to Korn. I'm blanking here for some reason on the name, so forgive me. Korn fans will tell me in the comments. It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I can't recommend it. Then at least Red would find a way to be even in my honorable mentions, if not my high. But that's not happening this year, so that's how disappointed I am in this. So expected better. Expected better. Speaking of better, moving on to Steven Wilson, the Harmony Codex. Of course, this coming sort of off of the Return of Porcupine Tree last year, and of course the unfortunate last record that he made, The Future Bites. To me, I still think like Hand Cannot Erase and To the Bone are like the best. That's Steven's solo career has to offer that really captures what people do like from him, and what you got into him for through Porcupine Tree, more so or less. But I think when he decided to bring back his first project that he took seriously, No Man, he started to dabble back into more electronics areas, and in the case of The Future Bites, it was sort of for the worst. But with the Harmony Codex, it seems he's brought back some of the more progressive rock, and especially the jazzier, lenient stuff. And this opening inclination was a great way of merging electronica and jazz together in such a beautiful, beautiful way. Which was a great start, and then leading into the more progressive tracks like What Life Brings. I'm okay with Economy of Scale. Some people like it more. Some people really like it. I'm okay with it. I'm more indifferent. But what made me actually, and the thing is, I was not quite. I think it was Economy. Yeah, in fact, I think it was Economy of Scales. Might have been the first single, and I was not feeling it as much. But it wasn't until Impossible Tightrope came out that I was like, okay, so working with Porcupine Tree got him back in. And then Rock Bottom, and what really sold me that this was going to be a better record was the Rock Bottom track featuring the return of collaborator of the better albums that was missing in Future Bites, Annette Tayeb. I'm probably butchering that, and I'm sorry, but her voice is always a treat. Ever since Hand Cannot Erase, it's always been since Routine on that record, always been even the version of Don't Hate Me that's on the 4.5 EP is chef's kiss. I almost prefer her version with the chorus better than the original from Porcupine Tree, personally. You can't, even though I think you can't go wrong with either version. But anyways, this was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as strong as the track that they used as the lead single for To the Bone, which is still, like, I think the best, like, in terms of Pariah. Pariah's still so good. But Rock Bottom's pretty solid for this record for sure. Definitely a highlight to me. And then it's more of the back half starts to kind of, Beautiful Scarecrow's pretty cool, but I'm sorry, I'm not feeling that title track. It's trying to be, let me look here. Hand Cannot Erase. was. I must miss something. It's trying to be no, it's trying to be Perfect Life. But it doesn't. But it goes on for unlike Perfect Life, it goes on for way too long, and and there's two moments, that and Staircase. Staircase does it better with the way it ends, but it's mostly instrumental, and it's the same vocals, same chick they got to do the, I don't know if it is Nina Tab or not. I'm trying to figure out who did it for that record, but then Time Is Running Out kind of, I mean, I don't care for the chorus, weird electronic thing they do there, that was kind of but Actual Brutal Facts makes up for it, and I get vibes similar to like the beginning of the weird rap, like spoken word moments from a spoken word rappy kind of a thing, hip-hop-ish, trip-hop thing they're trying to do on this thing, and it works, and it kind of gives me vibes of the title track to Dead Wing, which was really good. And then Staircase does a good job of ending this and making me kind of want to come back for more. I haven't gone back to this as much as I would have liked to. However, this is a step up from Future Bites for sure. This was, I think, the album I believe we initially would have preferred Future Bites have been as a follow-up to the Bone. But I think it's because it had to follow up Future Bites, anything was going to be better than this, and thank God it is. Even though there's like an interesting, that pedal show did something where they talked about how they talked to the Steven Wilson and his current guitarist, that's name escapes me, and how they handled things with the recordings of this on a couple tracks here and there. I could recommend that. I don't know if I'll put a link in the description or not. We'll see. But like, Google it. Anyways, this was definitely a step up. I'm very happy with this solo record. I'm hoping some of what is on here does bleed. If we do get another Porcupine Tree record, this bleeds into that. Some of what we got here does bleed more into that. What that record and where we left off Porcupine Tree with. I'm hoping, and fingers crossed. But yeah, Harmony Codex is pretty good, guys. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention with the last. I don't. It's not gonna make my honorable mention, so don't even worry about the rating. I guess it's not even a thumbs up. I'm sorry, but I gotta give I'm sorry, Red, but I gotta give a thumbs down for you guys. It's a high one with a slight low thumbs up because it's still somewhat tolerably enough enjoyable, but I just couldn't. Whereas with the Harmony Codex, that's the red one. I forgot to mention. But as far as this record is concerned, like to Solid Horns Up. I would say this is my third favorite of Steven's solo stuff, for sure. With that, but it's gonna be hard to beat that Hand Cannot Erase to the Bone era of his solo work. That was just chef's kiss, for me. But yeah, I don't know if I would start with this record. It's still probably a little too proggy and not poppy enough. I would still rather start with those records, Hand Cannot Erase, or even To the Bone for that matter, instead, as a way to ease you into his solos material. But I would probably rather even start more with what people would recommend from Porcupine Tree or something, especially anything from Stupid Dream onwards, for sure, except for like maybe The Incident. But yeah, moving on to the big one, the really big one from this week. That album is, if you've seen the thumbnail, you'll know, but that album is Code Orange, The Above. So, I've been waiting for this album for a while. Now, the lead singles definitely got me hyped enough to want to say, oh, they're still bringing that intensity, and it was doing better than what we got from Out for Blood. And so far, I can tell you, and then they dropped Take Shape featuring Billy Corgan. I was like, okay, where's this gonna go? And it was a well-utilized feature, and it's definitely one of the big highlights of this record for sure. And then Mirror happened, and during an interview on Rock Feed with Jamie Morgan, he had kind of said something about Mirror being different, and he wasn't wrong. Hell, it's more of a trip-hoppy track with a Reba-fronted trip-hoppy track. And it's grown on me a bit. But more on my qualms a little bit later. But that's when I was like, I don't know about this record at first. And then I saw Metal Trench's review, which came out literally like 2 to 3 days earlier than from the release date. And I was like, oh. And he made the song Never Far Apart sound like it was like a Slipknot Adderall situation. And I was like, I don't know. And then before I had a chance to finally truly listen to it, I heard him say it was great. I was like, okay. And then I do hear Never Far Apart, and I'm like, and I immediately know this is kind of different. And this is, honestly, it was initially going to come, and from what I can tell you about this record, when I first heard they promoted this record with The Game and Grooming My Replacement, which is back-to-back in the later half of this track listing and is probably the heaviest, straightforward metallic hardcore songs on here that are more closer to like that Forever, I Am King era stuff that I'm sure the hardcore fans like the most. Even though I could say something closer to that that's still experimental is like a drone opting out of the hive. But I didn't hate Never Far Apart. I think it is one of the... I get the reason why I think people preferred Theater, like the Metal Trench's Theory of Cruelty, because it felt more straightforward than all as all over the place about it. And it doesn't feel messy though to me. It still feels like there's a place for it. And they worked with Steve Albini as the engineer, but he wasn't the producer. It was the band self-producing this themselves. I don't know if Kip Yade or whatever the fuck his name is, or Kip Wayne or whatever the dude's name that was helping sort of co-producing the last 2 albums. I don't know if he still is or not, but I do enjoy Theory of Cruelty a lot, and they flow to each other pretty well, and especially the Mask of Sanity slips. Like, Take Shape is when they start to really, like, bring in the stuff and all these other ideas of being more nu metal-y, alt metal, grungy kind of stuff. Especially in that more that Smashing Pumpkins grunginess. Mask of Sanity slips is definitely like very Korn, Marilyn Manson-y. Mirrors, I mean. And then we start getting back into the other stuff after a drone opting out of the hive with like I Fly, which I didn't hate that. Though Splinter the Soul has an way better chorus too, and it's way more oomph. And then you start getting into The Game and Grooming My Replacement, which Grooming My Replacement they play live, but they haven't played anything else live, which I don't understand. If like Jamie Morgan's so proud of this, why isn't he not playing the other stuff outside of this? Unless we're going to be getting that next year, then hold on to your butts. And then of course we get Snapshot, which I guess is sort of a least favorite of mine, but it's still not bad by any means. Nowhere near as head scratching as Out for Blood. So, and then I liked Circle Through for what it is. And But a Dream definitely has some interesting ideas as well. And the ending of the above, where it seems like a more transcending thing, like they kind of do a choral, almost like a gospel-y choral thing here and there, that kind of works. Almost in a way that sort of reminds me of Unsainted in a way, from Slipknot, but yeah, this is I get, like, Code Orange is still doing their thing in a way they're not for everybody, but I'd say this, I'd almost compare it to the, like, minus the more mathcore aspects that, why am I blanking on the band? This, they just came out with a couple singles too. But they were like the band I'm thinking of that is touted to be the next Dillinger. Their last record that came out last year that I really liked, is what this reminds me of, and I wish I could say it, and it's not coming to my mind. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's not coming to me. But oh well. But regardless, initially I thought this was going to be an ironworks situation where some people are going to either find this a masterpiece or find it, like, consider a dumpster fire. Luckily, most people are saying it's at least good to great, but not, like, considered top tier as far as Code Orange. And I sort of, kind of agree, but I do think this is a grower. And and in a way, the spastic nature of this, I can see it being coming across very Dillinger-y in a way, that I think can work for some people, but that aren't into that. But I feel like you could at least pick some tracks here that would probably work better. And the whole point of what Jamie was trying to do was they were trying to do something different and not just stick to the straight up hardcore industrial. There's still that there, but it's just like, it seems more like it's meant to be a more hard rock alternative metal record that happens to just have the industrial and hardcore element and metallic hardcore elements in it. But overall, I can't say it's masterclass, but I do think it's kind of great for what it is. Warts and all. Code Orange the above to me is a light to solid horns up, not quite a strong one with not near strong with masterclass certification. I might have room for it in either honorable or high honorable mentions. Don't know if it'll make my list. I feel like I want it to, but I don't know yet. Because it just hits some of that 90s flavor I like. So, but yeah, but it just lacks that certain thing that I would like of Code Orange in terms of that certain some of that more brutal in your face intensity. And I kind of knew I wasn't going to get it, but the moment I heard Mirror and, like, Take Shape, which kind of is the best representations of something that's more tangible, that's different. Yeah, even though I could probably also give it sort of to Mask of Sanity Slips and maybe Splinter the Soul a little bit more. I don't mind Circle Through, personally, compared to everyone else, but the above at least ends on a certain way that allows it to feel like it loops back around. But yeah, other than that, I enjoyed this album. I actually wanted to come back to this. Yeah. I don't know if they've never not intrigued me. And I feel like I wouldn't, like, completely dismiss this band yet. I'd wait to see what they do next after this. Also, for those who don't remember who Code Orange is, they unfortunately they did the song "Let Me In" I say unfortunately in terms of, like, the fact that the said W Superstar has passed, that they did the song for, has passed away, and they did an interview with Fee that talked about it, which I mentioned on top when I talked about Mirror. And yeah, I feel like if you're into the 90s alternative and all that, and the new metal and all that stuff, maybe you'll get maybe this might be the record to like sort of ease you in. But I don't even know if I can say that either. But it's just me. What did you got? But those are the albums for the week and my recommendations I made up top. What did you think of those? These 3 records and the 2 I mentioned earlier in the beginning. Leave a comment below, let me know. And as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.